This is James Wilson Vincent Savile, born October 29th, 1926, in Burley, Leeds, in the north of England. Better known as Jimmy Savile. Jimmy was a DJ, television and radio personality, and of course, a pedophile. Now, if you are either too young or not familiar with Savile, then you could compare his fame to perhaps Oprah Winfrey, a household name in the UK and for decades. His story is of a funny, happy man who hosted many youth-orientated radio and TV shows. He raised millions for charity and rubbed shoulders with the political elite and royalty. A man of the people, truly loved and part of the British establishment. What is truly remarkable about his life, and a reflection perhaps on society as a whole, was the total shock and disbelief of his crimes, and there were many, once the public came to understand his darker side. It was not a surprise to anyone who knew him though. Not only did many people suspect him for his liking of underage girls, many people absolutely knew of his actions, and Jimmy himself openly spoke about it and dropped what seemed hundreds of hints throughout his lifetime. The scandal came out after his death, which, if you ask me, was very convenient for many people. There are hundreds and hundreds of people who have spoken after the fact, who said they knew all about his ways, what he was up to, and in many cases had seen him in action. Many of them said they did not report him as nobody would believe them. This, of course, could very much be the truth, as he was super famous and loved by the public. A tsunami of people have spoken about him since the scandal appeared, and many of these people only met him briefly during his decades of abuse. But there were so many who knew him very, very well and were fairly close to him. It is very hard to believe that he was not protected. In fact, he was. Over 600 now grown women filed cases against him after his death. Now that is 600 who came forward. Think of how many did not, and I presume for very good reasons. This man had a free hand to get on with all of this, and was protected by his celebrity, fame, and many people around him. In 1978, the then Sex Pistols and hated by the media bad boy, Johnny Rotten, was recorded in an unaired, protected interview saying that he knew what Savile was up to, and many others also knew. He called him a hypocrite and said that we all knew something about him and we were not allowed to talk about it. So the only one that was rotten was not called Johnny. He hosted Top of the Pops for what seemed to be forever, and of course this was a fantastic supermarket of young teenage girls for him to feed upon, and he did for years and years. Then there was Jim Will Fix It, a TV show he hosted, making dreams come true for very young children. Kids would write into the show asking could they meet pop stars like Gary Glitter, now there's another video on the same subject, and other celebrities. Yet another fantastic forum for him to select and abuse minors, and once again he really did. Sporadic allegations of child abuse were made against him as far back as 1963. But these all only became widely publicized after his death, once again protected. So basically, everybody around him knew what this dirty old bugger was doing and said nothing. This story gets even stranger. Now, when I said that Savile was part of the establishment, check this out. In 1972, he was made an OBE, Order of the British Empire. In 1990, he was made a Knight Bachelor. And in the same year, he was made a papal knight. Wait for it. By the Pope. Margaret Thatcher, the then Prime Minister, tried 4 times to get Savile knighted. He was also friends with several royals, including Prince Charles. Broadmoor is a maximum security prison in the UK that holds some of the most dangerous and mentally ill people. So what a great idea it would be to get Savile to become the head of a new task force running this institution. Well, this is exactly what happened. So before we even get to talk about why such a man with a known, if only suspected leaning to young girls would be allowed to hold such a position, why on earth would this job be given to a DJ and a TV host with 0 experience and qualifications to even be considered for such a role? Well, it happened, and guess what? Savile did what he always done. He abused the inmates. In his time at Broadmoor, Savile was given keys which allowed him unrestricted access to ward areas, day rooms and patient rooms. There were even alternative entrances to some wards that allowed him to reach unsupervised patients and without the knowledge of those in charge. There were so many other parts I could add to this man's sordid, disgusting history. But it's not really about him. It's about the thousands of people around him over the years that let this happen. Was everybody holding just one piece of a jigsaw and only decided to put the puzzle together once he died? What control or hold did Jimmy Savile have over everyone to make them stay silent? Or was it just a case of money and power playing its hand once again?